Good evening and welcome to the Job Search Solution, the radio program where we talk about looking for a job, changing jobs, changing careers, hiring. And as always, we begin with a prayer. Dear God, grant us thy peace and thy mercy, thy will be done. Doubt, uncertainty, and fear. We're going to talk about it. What it means to you if you're a candidate looking for a job. You know what it means to an employer. If you've been an employer, you're operating under doubt, uncertainty, and fear, and what it all means and how you have to approach it, especially as a job candidate. In just a few minutes, Rich Chavinsky is going to be with us talking about consultants in the workplace. He's got a great topic this evening. He always does. He's really good. We've been in the habit of spending 10 seconds in gratitude. So think of 3 things today that have made you grateful. Go. You can't be unhappy when you're grateful. Do that 3 times today or tomorrow. So doubt, uncertainty, and fear. And what's brought this up is that politically, we're in the middle of President Trump enforcing tariffs, and there's a lot of doubt, uncertainty, and fear on the part of businesses. There's usually doubt, uncertainty, and fear, but especially in this time of political, the time of political life in the United States. Everybody's concerned about everything. So when doubt, uncertainty, and fear occurs, and businesses are operating under that, the problems of doubt, uncertainty, and fear, the way they hire is totally different than when things are rolling along and the economy's really good and they're really doing well, and they don't worry about the economy. They're making a lot of money. And when they're not, and they're concerned that they don't know how things are going to go and they're not sure of what's going to happen, when they go to hire, they approach it totally different and don't think they don't. And you, if you're a job candidate, need to know that. What does that mean? It means that when they go to interview you as a candidate, they're more concerned about you not being the right candidate than being the candidate they ought to choose. They're going to be more careful. They're going to be more afraid of making a mistake. They're going to be more critical of your experience, of your background. They're going to be more critical of everything you say, of everything you do in the interviewing process. It means that you are going to have to perform better. It means that you're going to have to answer every question just about as perfectly as you can. They're going to be concerned about everything that you do and say in the interviewing process because they are afraid of making a mistake, because they are afraid of the economy. They're afraid of themselves. They're afraid of just about everything. When things are going real well and everybody's making a lot of money and the economy's really expanding, hey, don't worry about it. I'll never forget when a major airline moved to the Dallas-Fort Worth area in the mid-1970s. One of their executives said as they were going to hire around 30 people from us, he said, don't worry about it. We spill more than that in a day. It wasn't any big deal. Whether they made a mistake or not in hiring, he didn't care because things were rocking along and booming and going real well. But today, when they go to hire somebody, it's usually to replace somebody. It's not an expansion. There are fewer expansion roles now. There are replacement roles. They're going to be very concerned about everything you say in an interviewing situation. So what that means is that when you go to interview, you better have every answer down just perfectly. You better practice just perfectly. You can't afford, the margin of error is very, very slim. And the difference between who they hire and who they don't comes down to very little things. And the comments you might make, the way you might dress, the way you might hold yourself, the way you might communicate. They've got hordes of candidates to choose from, so they can interview ad infinitum, and you just need to be more perfect. I'm sorry, that's just the way it is. And you complaining about it isn't going to do any good. And yes, many of the times the reason that they make decisions don't have anything to do with your ability to do the job. They don't have anything to do with how good or a quality a candidate you are. You might not answer a question in a particularly right way. Does not necessarily mean you won't be a good employee, but that's the way they're going to perceive it. And you complaining about it won't do one bit of good. So you just have to interview better. You have to be better. You have to sell yourself better. You have to know what they want better. You have to be more careful. You have to be more perfect. That's the way it is when you get into this kind of job market. And complaining about it again, like I say, I had a candidate yesterday just complaining the dickens out of it, and that the decision that this company was going to make, they were carrying it on way too long. They've carried it on for almost 3 weeks now. Well, that's just the way it is. And you have to be aware of that. Being aware of it makes you a little more patient with it and a little more understanding of it. All right, we're going to take a short break. Stay tuned. This is Tony Bashir with the Job Search Solution.